And Mike, the power of imagery is not unique to Fidel Castro. It's something that transcends national and ethnic lines. I talked to Imani Cheers about that. She's Assistant Professor of Media and Public Affairs at George Washington University.
I think it's really critical when you see an image, it pulls at your soul. It's so powerful to be able to have empathy, and when you have images, you're able to empathize with situations. I was thinking earlier today about the Black Lives Matter movement and comparing it to the Civil Rights movement. And it wasn't until people actually saw what was happening in certain parts of the country that they really began to understand the plight of others. And it was because of the power of images.
Let's talk about some specific pictures that we have. The Syrian refugee crisis, really impossible to forget. The image of little 3-year-old Aylan, who drowned on the beach in Turkey, and we have the picture right there. And then another one, 5-year-old Omran, who was pulled out of the rubble in Aleppo, and we saw him sitting in the back of an ambulance, touching his bloody head. I can tell you, as a mother, those images hit me hard and hit me really hard.
I am also a mother. I have a soon-to-be 3-year-old son, so I'm with you. It was immediate. It was heart-stopping when you see the effects on children, which I don't think a lot of times when you hear about civil war, crises, refugees, you don't automatically think children, the most vulnerable ones in these situations. And when those 2 images in particular literally went viral around the world, then no one could ignore what a lot of us really knew, but it wasn't until you saw the image of the boy dead on the beach, or the young boy sitting in that ambulance, that you realized.
Heartbreaking. Let me move on to something else. 1968 Olympics, when Tommy Smith and John Carlos raised their fist in the air. We've got the image right here. It's the so-called Black Power salute. And then 2 years later, amid a World Cup that was marred by racism, Pele and Bobby Moore traded jerseys. Wow, powerful images there. Those 2 are so iconic for so many reasons, but in particular because of the international stage that these athletes were on. And I think when you had, John Carlos, when they took that moment to raise their hand in defiance, and to let the world know, bring attention to the crises in the United States and the civil rights movement, and similar to have these 2 soccer players at the height of their career take a moment, and something as simple as sort of trading jerseys. What I was just going to say.
It's so simple. It's so simple. Athletes do it all the time, especially in soccer. So it was iconic because it was, as you mentioned, it was marred with racism during that World Cup. It was just an ugly time, and to have that camaraderie amongst these 2 players is just amazing. So we live in a digital world now. Looking ahead, are images getting more meaningful, Imani, in terms of being shared? Or because they're being shared so often and so frequently, have we sort of become desensitized? That's a great question. On the one hand, I sometimes think it's a little bit of both. I hate that people think that in order to, say, for example, cause impact change, like this picture or share this, and then that's going to actually do something. So what I think is that the images, I don't know if we're becoming desensitized as much as what it's doing is it's allowing people to see things on this regular basis that now they're not necessarily willing to take action. So I'm hoping that we're going to kind of bring that back around to actually doing more instead of just liking and sharing. Imani Cheers, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I think Mike, Imani said it the best. Some of those powerful pictures truly touch our souls. Back to you.
Sure did. Thanks so much.